Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries. As always, I'm your host, Justin Allen, accompanied by
Moses Wartooth.
And we got some stories for you today. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the world is literally going to shit as we speak.
Burning.
Literally on fire. Coups happening. World government's on the verge of collapse, man. Oh, like, where do you even want to start with what's going on, dude?
It's a great day to be alive.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess we can.
Let's start with the fire shit.
Let's start with the fire stuff, you know, because that's America. So we'll start with our homeland and we'll work our way out, right? So, like, you might know a little bit more about this than me, man, but the island of Maui is just engulfed in flames.
Yeah, and it's so far like they've been having wind gusts of up to 85 miles an hour, which has been like the main problem with the fire, because once, like, if fire is going, if it's the wind is being carried that fast, you can't stop that shit. And another problem is getting firefighters to help out. They have to fly to the island, which is on fire, which is another like problem.
So is Maui one of their smaller islands, or is it one of their larger islands? Do you know?
I do not know that, actually.
Yeah. To me, it'd make a lot of sense if it was one of their smaller islands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know, like, the people, you know, the residents there, like, they were getting, like, pissed off, like, at the government. They were like, why aren't you helping us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, fires they've burned down cell phone towers, so people can't get a hold of their families, so people don't even know if they're, like, last I had heard, there's 67 people that have died so far.
Jesus.
And the fires are still going, so I'm sure that number is going to continue to climb. But So it's done, like, of course, a couple of $1 billion of damage, but just the time that it's going to take for them to recover, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, and I remember, like, you know, I was hearing, you know, or reading about one guy talking about how one of the largest U.S. military bases is in Hawaii, in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
You know? And he was like, why isn't the fucking military sending down boats to get residents off this fucking island?
That is true. You would think the Navy would be right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of makes you wonder.
What are they doing?
I don't know. I've kind of always said it, you know, I think the military's more of a... Don't get me wrong. We got some killers. We got some crazy shit. But I think a lot of it is kind of, what do they call it, a fugazi? Like, it's all for show.
Yeah.
You know?
Like some...
oh, we got all this equipment, but it's like, that equipment's from the 90s and it's falling apart. You know? So...
Like North Korea, they have cardboard tanks and shit. Like,
what was it? The Nazis during World War II, they had inflatable tanks or whatever.
Yep.
You know, to try to, like, throw... And apparently that shit worked.
It did. They also had, like, boom boxes with recording sounds of tank movement, and they would blare that over. Yeah, they would blare that over loudspeakers. I read a book about that.
Holy
it was
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. Do they know? I mean, does anyone really know what started this fire in Maui?
I don't know. Because the last I had heard is it wasn't determined yet, because I wanted to know if it was like an accident or if it was a human start, like if they started on purpose. But the last info I had heard was they don't know what started it yet.
Yeah. You think it could have been an arsonist?
Could have been. I don't know.
A lot of fires are popping up these days, man.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like in Hawaii it probably wasn't, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Have you noticed there's just, like, it seems to be like a lot more fires these days?
Yeah.
30 years ago, 20 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's just, you know, pissed off people or idiots with campfires or whatever.
Fucking arsonists, man. They literally, like, get high to that stuff. Like, the action of starting a fire, like, gets their rocks off. So,
you know, actually, I watched a very interesting documentary about serial arsonists one time, right? And they interviewed... It was about mostly from the FBI's perspective, right?
Yeah.
And I cannot remember when this case happened. I think it was the late 90s. I think, but it was, I believe, two teenagers. They were serial arsonists. And they were burning down houses. But not only that, they were stepping back and they were filming it.
Oh, okay.
And then they were, like, talking, like, doing a dialogue.
Narrating it.
And they were, like, getting off to it, man. They were like, oh, look at how beautiful it is. Like,
look at the flames.
Yeah, and it's like people's houses. Well, up until that point, like, the FBI had never had a serial arsonist. So they literally, like, discredited this agent. And they were like, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. And he was like, oh, no, it's a thing, dude. And so he had to shovel shit uphill for years. And then finally... he was able to prove it was a real thing. And so now they have a criminal profile for, like, serial arsonists. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever hear there was a story of this? It was actually, there was another serial arsonist. It was in California. I don't remember. It was quite a while ago. But the guy who was actually starting the fires was a firefighter. Like he was an arson investigator.
Jesus.
So that was why he was able to get away with it for so long, is because he was the one inspecting, like trying to figure out the shit, but it was really him doing it the whole time.
It's almost like when those like narcotics officers get caught like selling drugs themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's always the ones in power, man.
It is.
Yeah, you gotta be. That's why you gotta be skeptical of your government and people in positions of authority, man.
Yeah, just because they hold a position does not put them above the law, and does not shit doesn't mean they're better than anyone else.
I mean, shit, talking about being skeptical of governments and stuff, and you know, we're already talking about the world basically being on fire and unstable. It's probably gonna be the main focus of this episode. But have you seen what's been going down in Niger?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, they're going through a straight-up military coup right now, and that is looking to be a very dicey situation. Complex politics, a lot of different militaries. Just, I don't even know where to start, man.
And it seems like their military basically overstepped on their government because they didn't feel like their government was doing a good enough job of protecting their country.
So I thought there was something with their president. I don't know. I want to say. Don't quote me 100%, okay? I want to say that they elected another president. And then they were like, the military presidential guards, not their normal defense military, but apparently they have a whole other branch of the military, essentially, that is like designed to just protect the president.
Okay.
They stepped up and were like, fuck you.
You're not doing this right. Like,
yeah, you're not taking control of this country. This guy's staying in fucking power. Not in power, but they basically seized control of the government.
Damn.
Suspended the Constitution.
That sounds like what we should have done whenever Biden tried to get in power. Be like, you know what?
I think that kind of happened around January 6th.
That was some bullshit. That was a scam.
To be debated.
Yeah. Anyways, let's not get caught up on this again. We'll continue to talk on Niger.
Niger, gotta be careful here.
Yeah, you better stepping on some glass around this. Like.
So yeah, man. So like, you know what brings the problems with Niger? Like, from my understanding, and I did not know this. I know that the U.S. military has had a presence in Niger before. But currently, we have like 11,000 troops, or not 11,000, sorry, 1,100 troops there, and we have a small base there.
Shit.
Awesome.
And France has 1,500 troops there, I believe now.
France has 1,500, and then in all these neighboring countries, there's Russian presence.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's a bunch of other like NATO countries around and stuff. So none of these like Western countries and Russia have made a move yet, apparently.
Okay, so what are we doing? Like, why are we over there?
So
how is that our fucking business?
So West Africa, from what I've gathered from my own personal experience and like kind of what I've read about, is it's all the radicals, you know, like.
So almost like the Middle East, like.
Yes.
They're the African version of ISIS.
So like, yeah, like ISIS, ISIL, like they still exist. They're still down there. Like Boko Haram is still a fucking thing and all this other shit, right? And so like we kind of just have always kept our shoe in the door of like, hey, don't let these guys gain ground, because what people are really worried about, well, two things, especially the Nigerians are like worried about two things. One, there's going to be essentially some colonialism shit that's going to take place.
Yeah.
Right? Like America, France, Russia, who the fuck ever. They're going to step up and then they're going to basically be like, we run shit here now. We're going to get this place back, stable. And it's just going to
you work for me now.
Yeah, it's just going to be like Iraq all over again. You know what I mean? So, and they have a history of all that shit there. And so, like, there's some, like, animosity.
I mean, I get that. Like, how pissed would we be if any random country showed up on our soil and was like, oh, we own this shit now? We wouldn't put up with that stuff. So why, like, how is that different? I don't get that.
I actually have, like, a little funny sidebar about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I was in Holland, and I was just, traveling, whatever, and I was staying in, like, a small town. And I went to a pub and I got into like a political conversation because one thing I've noticed, like, for whatever reason, this is back when our politics were really crazy, right? Like Trump was still in office. Like this shit was just going down nonstop, right? And I met a Dutch guy who wanted to have like a political conversation with me, right? And we brought up that same subject. He was like, America has all these bases over here. He was talking about the Dutch has bases all over the world. France, even Russia. Russia has a shit ton of bases all over the world. That's something that's like never talked about, right?
Yeah, I'd had no idea Russia had so many, like as many bases outside of Russia as they do.
Yeah, dude, if you look at like where like America starts popping up like new bases, especially like in the Middle East and Africa, like Russia's right next door.
And it seems like looking at the map of where their bases were, it seems like Russia goes to the places that Americans are typically like, oh, like Somalia, for example.
Yeah.
Somalia has a bad taste in Americans' mouth, like fuck Somalia.
Yeah.
But what do you know? Russia has bases out there, so that's interesting.
Yeah, dude. So I get into this conversation with this Dutch guy, you know, and we're talking, and he was like, you know, he was basically like, why don't you see like French bases in America, or you know, Canadian bases,
or any fucking.
And I was like, I was trying to explain to him, I was like, that wouldn't work. And he was like, well, like what would be the problem? And I think the specific example we were going over was if after, I think we brought up World War II and how there's anywhere that we have a conflict, we always keep a base there, right? And I was like, you know, say we would have lost or whatever, and there'd be a Japanese base outside of like your house. Every morning you woke up, drove past it or whatever. That's not going to go over too well in America.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just trying to tell him, I was like, I don't think you really understand like how Americans are, dude. Like the average citizen is not going to like tolerate that or whatever.
No.
You know, and he just could not understand. He was like, well, what's the problem? Like, you know, can't we all get along and stuff like that? And I was
no.
I was trying to be like,
yeah, you do know we're humans, right? And we live. If you live in a different area, you're probably that's just how shit goes.
I was trying to be really diplomatic with him, but you know, he couldn't get it, man.
There's just no way.
But like in his defense, you know what I mean? Like that region of the world, there's a lot of bases, you know.
Yeah.
Up, and there's a lot of NATO presence and stuff, and they think more of a collectivism mindset versus like the individual, you know.
So I saw that the Nigerians, they don't like, they hate more of the Western or the Western world. So like I heard that there was talks like maybe they will be friends with Russia just based off of their mutual hate for America and France and that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a big thing. I was seeing that they were talking about how the average citizen just does not like France.
Yeah.
It goes back to like the history of colonialism.
Which, I mean, can't really argue with them. Like, yeah. I get that.
But Russia, all these neighboring countries around Niger, like Russia has bases and has had like an influence in it.
Yeah.
And so like people are like waving like Russian flags now, and they're talking about like basically like fuck the French president Macron or whatever and stuff. So it's an interesting time, you know, and a lot of people I think are kind of worried, you know, like are we going to sit by and allow Russia to gain more real estate?
To gain that more power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So
I bet Russia has like propaganda. Like if you're in Niger and you turn on the radio, they're probably blaring like the Russian national anthem or something. Like I bet they got some stuff. They're like, fuck America.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, man. You know? But I don't know, dude. Like seeing all those videos and stuff, man, it does not seem like a nice place to visit.
Yeah.
But you know, like they've had issues, you know, with wanting, I don't know, like with colonialism in the past, you know, talking about that. I mean, because like remember what happened in like South Africa, right?
Oh yeah, like they got super pissed at the white people.
Yeah, like essentially like landowners and farmers, which you know happen to be white people, you know, because fucking been setting up colonies down there forever and a fucking day, you know, even though these are South African citizens.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like South Africa is predominantly white, I think.
Yeah.
I knew multiple people from South Africa and they were all white.
Yeah, so. In all my travels, like all the South Africans I met. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Now maybe they just got like.
I know there is like, well, of course there's obviously other ethnicities down there.
Sure.
But
absolutely.
I know there is like there's actually some pretty dangerous parts in South Africa.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I know their coastline that has like some of the highest population like great white sharks in the world.
Oh really?
Dude, yeah. Because like South Africa's on my bucket list of places to go, right? And you can check it out. I think it's like the Ivory Coast or something like that. You can pay for like charters, like boat rides out there, and they'll throw out like meat and feed.
Oh, to get the great whites to come up?
Yeah, dude.
That would be cool.
Hundreds of them, dude. Just
okay, so would you ever get in, like, you know, they have those cages you can get in and they'll drop you in the fucking ocean with the great whites? Would you ever do that?
100%.
Yeah.
I would not even hesitate. That's like something I want to do. Man.
I think that would be cool. Like, I would feel, I mean, I trust those iron bars. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, we'll be all right. I would love to like put a fish through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Feed this
yeah.
motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't have a fear, like, I don't know, man. I got respect for nature and stuff like that, but I don't have a fear of like stuff like it doesn't like bother me. Like as long as I know there's some sort of barrier or there's like some safety net, like there's something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm okay. Now I'm not just like gonna go wander through like the fucking Saharas of Africa hunting a lion and I got fucking 6 rounds in a fucking single shot rifle. Like that's not happening.
Wearing a fucking meat suit.
You know? But yeah, man, like I mean, shit, dude. Like, it'd be cool. We should do that.
I saw someone. It was on one of those '90s fucking like Jackass, something like that. But they put on an old school chainmail suit, like from medieval times, and jumped in there with the sharks, and they were getting bit and shit.
Dude,
I ain't gonna do that.
But fuck that.
I'll get in a box.
Yeah, dude.
I think that would be pretty cool.
It's like that wildlife biologist Forrest Galanti. You know who he is?
Mm.
He's a cool dude, man. He's made a lot of TV shows on like I think like Animal Planet or
like Shark Week stuff.
He's done that. He's done a lot of conservation work.
Oh,
and
okay.
Stuff and everything.
Just like different animals.
Yeah. He's actually speaking of like issues, you know, in some of these African countries or whatever. He was actually a refugee from Zimbabwe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, you know, his family had to like basically get asylum like here in America or whatever. But I mean, he just looks like the generic like white dude. So like, you would,
oh really?
Yeah. So you kind of fucking forget.
Not gonna lie, whenever you said Zimbabwe, I didn't automatically think white guy. So
that's why I want to throw it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's got some crazy shit on his Instagram, man. If you want to ever check it out, and I think one photo, he's like swimming with a tiger shark.
Just like no protection.
Yeah, and I mean he's like touching it on the nose and shit. Like I mean he's like, yeah, dude.
Braver man than I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, he goes deep, man. He goes deep. Oh man, but yeah, dude. Like so, the world's just getting fucking crazier and crazier, man. You know, and I think I don't know, but one thing is like dabbling in conspiracies right now. But one thing is, our media, our governments just want to keep us distracted, man.
True.
You know, like everyone's still talking about that fucking Bud Light shit. Dude.
Bud Light and now fucking Lizzo, that stupid ass shit.
Yeah, dude. Like there's literally like all out wars about to break out on the fucking, you know, in multiple countries. Like there's all kinds
and we're worried about a fat ass singer body shaming her dancers. Like she has any room to talk.
Or some transgender private content creator got a single can censor.
Yeah.
Like who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Like, but there's always someone to capitalize on that. You know what I mean? And I mean, sure shit isn't Bud Light right now. Interesting though, I was reading that Anheuser-Busch is planning on selling off 8 of their beer brands now.
Are they really?
Yes, they're like significantly downsizing and all kinds of shit.
Okay, so
to separate Bud Light from these other entities.
Okay, that was going to be my question to you. Was do you think like let's say they own Modelo? Yeah. So if they sell Modelo, is the average person, are they just going to are they going to remember that? Will they care? Or are they going to be like, oh, it's a new owner now, so now I can drink Modelo again because I had such a fucking issue with this before?
Modelo's the cool one because it's from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but I get your point.
Yeah.
I get your point. Like, you know, they're just fucking with people, man. You know, like at this point, they're keeping people fucking distracted. I mean, personally, I think the whole damn thing is a goddamn psyop. I mean, that's just me personally. But one thing, you know, I think, yeah, they're probably trying to back off. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, you know, these companies got to make money, right?
So, because I feel like in a little bit, this will fucking blow over and their stocks are down now, but it'll eventually go back up.
Yeah, it inevitably in the long run, dude.
Yeah, like they're gonna recover from this stupid shit.
Like I've had Tesla stock for like ever. And I can't tell you how many times, like, in the news, they're going to be like, they're just always have been like, Elon Musk is going to crash his company. Like,
oh, dude.
Horrible quarters. Like, they're busting production deadlines.
Do you want to fucking talk about some real shit like that? Talk about Bitcoin. I mean, back in, like, I guess it was probably...
I never got into it.
It was around, like, 2020, 2017. Few years back, dude, anytime it took a dip, they would be like, holy shit, it's going to zero, we're all fucked, sell.
Rug pull.
Yeah, and then the next day it would be up and they'd be like, oh, it's going to the fucking moon, it's hitting 200K this year. Dude, it was the most ridiculous shit. Like, just straight
Jesus
roller coaster.
Christ. I remember seeing like predictions for like that kind of shit where people were like, in 10 years it's going to be $500,000 a coin, and then like the CEO of Snapchat, like I think he said he had like almost half his net worth in Bitcoin or whatever. I don't know, but apparently, I mean, that shit did like crash a while back, but I guess it's kind of
it's still doing good, yeah.
And it like around like 30 or some shit now. Yeah, I knew a guy. Oh man, dude. I told you that. Yeah, I told you this story. The man shall not be named, but the guy who put his life savings into fucking cryptocurrency just before it all crashed, who happens to be related to me.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. So so I was fucking around with stocks, man, and like I was kind of like making a little bit of money. Like this is the beginning of COVID and stuff. I mean, I say a little bit of money. I mean, I'm talking like, oh fuck, I made $500. You know what I mean? Like for me, it'd
be like,
pretty decent money.
Ain't got to worry about electric bill next month. We're good.
Yeah, you know, and get them brakes changed on that Subaru.
Get that oil change finally. It's been 12,000 miles.
So, friggin' my relative. Okay, like I was trying to get him into stocks, and I was like, cause I mean, I've always put money into like an IRA and stuff, you know, like eventually to retire and like stuff, right? And I was like, hey man, you know, I was trying to tell him, I was like, you know, stocks are kind of the way, and mutual funds if you want to do that, and try to be like as responsible,
like safe investment stuff.
Yeah, like normal shit, you know what I mean?
Like blue chips, like
yeah, bet on America, dude. You're not gonna lose, you know what I mean? And he like wouldn't do it.
He probably caught a live YouTube channel of a cryptocurrency person and was like, bye, going to the moon.
He was sending me so many videos. Like, he would send me so many, like, Instagram reels or, like, TikTok posts or, like, videos and be like, this guy, like, did his DD and, like, you know, oh, yeah, he says monkey jizz is going to be the next fucking cryptocurrency, which turned out to be a fucking huge scam, right?
They all did their DD because they owned part of the made up coin they were pushing, and then as soon as they got fucking up, they'd pull it.
So he liquidated his entire 401k. And he threw 100% of it into cryptocurrency.
Do you know which ones?
He had some Bitcoin, but a majority of it was like in altcoins.
Like Doge and Shiba and shit like that.
Doge, Shiba was like a big thing because he was really trying to pump like Shiba, and it was all like one big pump in them. Because it wasn't just him. Like I had other people messaging me like, "Oh, put money in this coin."
Oh yeah, those people on my Facebook page like just pumping that shit themselves.
Yeah, like no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
like, I'm cool with
be like, that is the
Fargo.
Yeah, that's the equivalent to a 31-year-old person you went to high school with. Now she's trying to sell you some Tupperware and shit, like
like some
fat loss stuff, like
Cincy bullshit.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, or it used to be Avon, and then it turned.
Yes,
like, Avon was a big one
after the
kids.
Yeah, and then they stopped doing the door-to-door stuff, and then Cincy was online.
Oh god, don't get me started on pyramid schemes. Jesus Christ. You got to buy in for $3,000 to get your initial startup package.
Yeah.
And it's just like, now you're just stuck all this shit you got to sell.
And then you have a quota and you get a recurring inventory that you have to sell, or you just get deeper and deeper in the hole.
But my relative, he, you know, speaking of getting deeper and deeper into a hole, he bought like at the peak. He was like, I'm all in, like Bitcoin's going to, because do you remember what Bitcoin peaked at? I'm just using Bitcoin as a reference because it's the big one.
Oh, shit, man. I don't remember. I think
was it like 72,000?
I think it was pretty, I was going to say like 64. So it was somewhere in there. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure he got in on this, like the 60s. Like how you just kind of laughed.
That's terrible.
He got in on the 60s. And then that's when the fucking crashes started to happen. Fucking Mark Cuban invested all that money into that bullshit Titan coin he was trying to push. Yeah. And then it literally rug pulled over like within like a few minutes. And then he lost, I think it was estimated like $50 million or whatever. And he was like, oh, fuck crypto. But he was championing it the whole fucking time, you know? That dude is always a big pump and dump anyway. But yeah, dude. So like I'm sitting here and I'm watching my relative and he's just like, all of a sudden like, it's Ghost. Right, like I'm not getting my phone's not getting blown up anymore in the middle of the night. You know,
you're like, I need to do a welfare check on this guy.
Yeah, dude. So I'm sending him messages. I'm like, you doing all right? He's like, yeah. He's like, it'll come back.
The days go by.
Yeah, dude. And like, and the shitty part is like the stocks that I told him to like pick, like they were still like steadily climbing.
They were doing good.
Yeah. Especially once like COVID happened and stuff. Like a lot of them were starting to kind of like really.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Which is interesting, you know. shut down like an economy, and then everyone's like hurting for fucking money. But yet somehow the stock market keeps going up, and housing prices still keep.
I know, like looking on most stocks that I ever check during the 2020 through 2022 area, they were fucking peaking. Like they were high as shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, man. I knew some guys. They got as soon as Trump came out on the news, and he was like, "Hey, this COVID shit's real. We're shutting down fucking airports. Don't worry, like we'll handle this shit or whatever." Like they threw a bunch of money into like all these companies that were working on vaccines,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them increased like 20-fold, like within a few months or whatever.
Yeah.
So like if you invested $1,000, you could have like $20K or whatever. So I don't know, but that is an interesting fucking world. But yeah, so my relative, he oh, this poor bastard. I mean, because it got low, dude. It was sinking low, man.
Oh yeah, like if he bought it at 60, I remember it got down to like.
Well, we're talking about Bitcoin, but the reality was he was in like altcoins.
Oh yeah, those went to like they were at like 0.000, and then they went to like 0.9 after that shit.
Yeah,
like
dude. He was like he'd send me screenshots of like tweets that Elon Musk had sent out. Where people were trying to break down, like, there's a cryptic message in this, you know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, this is what he really meant. He like not what he said, but this is what he really meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they pick the first letter off each sentence or whatever, you know? Like, it
like,
spells douche. You know? So, but I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I felt bad for that guy, dude. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. But I don't know, man. Like, what are you gonna do?
As long you don't lose until you sell.
Yeah, he's still in it. He's still holding.
I mean, he can hope that by the time he's at retirement age, that shit is going back up and he can cash out and it'll all be all right.
Well, I just started thinking, like, you know, like out of all the years or whatever, you know, that he worked and he saved his money and did all that stuff, man. Like, damn, dude. Like,
dude, that would be
how many years did you just throw?
That would be soul crushing, man. Like,
yeah. I think he told me it was like 10 years worth of work.
Soul crushing.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's the kind of shit you wake up at 2 a.m. and just can't go back to sleep thinking about.
See, that's when you need a distraction. Like,
yeah, that's when he's like, that goddamn train got that can.
Not when there's coups and like massive fires like in Canada, and Maui, and all this other shit. The world's on fire. No, you need that shit whenever your life savings is going down the fucking shitter because you invested.
Yeah, because you fucked up. Yeah,
made up in some fucking kid's basement. Oh my god, dude! The distraction stuff, man, it's really got me or whatever. Like, I don't know. Did I talk about the heir to Anheuser-Busch earlier? I know we're kind of
you mentioned him, but we got sidetracked again.
Oh yeah. It's the story of this podcast.
It happens.
But so the heir of Anheuser-Busch, his name is Billy Bush, right?
Old Billy.
And you might have seen it. He released a statement recently that said if his ancestors were alive right now, they'd be rolling in their graves based on what's happened.
Well, yeah, no shit. They're losing a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah. This was the point I was going to make with the guy. Is that always, like, in these times of crisis and distraction and all this other shit, there's always people trying to capitalize off that shit.
Oh, for sure. I mean?
And so this guy has... Because how long has the Bud Light shit been going on? Since March?
Yeah, a couple months, few months.
Okay. He just wrote a book.
What's it called? You know?
I don't know the name of it. It's something about, like... Oh, God. It's like something about Anheuser-Busch, like the rise and fall of, like, a empire or something.
Okay.
I don't know, like a reign or some shit. But, like, essentially the story about, like, where Anheuser-Busch came from and then how it got to where it's at now.
Okay.
But I just thought it was funny, you know, because he kind of went on, like, all these, like, conservative radio shows and was, like, talking and... You know, he was just kind of like, you know.
Oh, well, okay.
These guys are driving my family's company.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, but he wrote a fucking book, and I was like, yeah, I bet you did. It's like every fucking president writes a book.
Well, hell, he's taking a pay cut. He's got to write a book to try to make some cash.
He doesn't really have anything to do with the company.
He doesn't inherit it?
No. I mean, it's a publicly traded company and shit.
Like so, his
family has sold like his family's names on the company, but like, I mean, he owns stock in it, but he has no he's not a board member. He has no control of any of this shit. He's a regular dude.
Oh well, then I commend him for trying to make some cash off of it. Then
yeah,
good shit.
I'm trying to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Sell this damn book. Come back and buy this shit at rock bottom prices. You know.
I mean that I don't know.
I don't want to read it. I do kind of want.
It's probably interesting. I don't know about whatever kind of bullshit he has to say about it now. But it would be, I would like to know about how it like began as a company. That part's probably cool.
Yeah. Man, yeah, distractions are always good though.
So do you think like, is it immoral to try to capitalize on a negative situation? I guess it depends on the actual situation.
Is it immoral? I don't know. I mean,
or should you
opportunistic?
Would you look at it as like, why not? Like, might as well type thing? Because like if you don't do it, someone else will, or if you don't do it, then you just lose out.
I mean, I think you should take advantage of the opportunity at hand. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't always decide the cards you're dealt, but like you can decide.
Yeah, you can try to take advantage of a situation.
Yeah,
I guess.
But I think also too, like, you know, this like let's just face it, this is just a political controversy, right?
Yeah. And in that guy's situation, I feel like I mean,
yeah,
he should have
justified.
No.
But like, if you're doing things where you're like, you know, taking food, like money away from like average citizens.
True.
Like something like shit like these big banks have done in the
Yeah.
past. You know what I mean? Like now that's where you start getting into, or you start warmongering with like defense contractors and shit.
Like that guy writing a book doesn't fucking hurt anyone.
No, because you don't have to buy the piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure it fucking sucks. You know what I mean? Dude's never wrote a fucking book a day in his life, and he's just like, I'm writing a goddamn book right now. I'm Billy Bush.
He probably thought of the title. Well, no, he probably used ChatGPT for that shit too.
ChatGPT. I mean, I think that most of them just hire ghostwriters now. Man.
Yeah.
You really think Donald Trump wrote Art of the Deal? Get fucked.
You're fired.
You're fired. Fired. Get out of here. Yeah, but I don't know. Shit, who were we talking about other distractions? Lizzo? Did we shit enough on Lizzo?
No, I'm not done with her.
Yeah, okay. Let's get back on the Lizzo train. All right. Damn, this podcast is bouncing around today.
It is, yeah.
We went from like Niger to Maui. Now we're on Lizzo. Like,
yeah.
You know? Man, so she's getting some fucking heat though in the news, right?
Dude, it's justified. Like I don't care how she acts, but I just hate the hypocrisy of it. Like,
we're gonna have to be careful here, folks, because Moses and I both fucking hate Lizzo.
Yeah.
So, like this could just turn into like a huge rant. Like, you know, we got about 30 minutes left in this podcast.
Like I feel like our points are just. I don't know. Like I don't feel like she has the right to do the things that she did to her supposed like coworkers and people that like she doesn't have a fucking right.
Let's talk about what she did first, and then we can go into like our personal reasons why we hate her.
Okay.
Because no one will admit that they just hate her. You know, but anyway, like about fucking like, goddamn, dude. All right, so do you know what she did exactly?
I know. So I think allegations are still like coming out, but I know the first couple of them that I heard was she got on to her dancers because they were overweight.
Yes.
Which, first off, that in itself is laughable if it wasn't such bullshit. Because she needs to take a look in the goddamn mirror. But especially for her, because she's always supposedly promoting body positivity, but I think she only promotes it about herself.
It's like when you're drinking at a bar and the guy who's there 4 days a week is telling you you have a problem.
Yeah.
You know,
he's like, you goddamn drunk.
Up.
Yeah.
It's always an older guy too, you know what I mean?
True.
You get your life together, kid.
And then the other one was apparently they had gone, Lizzo and her, like some of her crew or her dancers or someone had gone to Amsterdam, and which I don't know how, she allegedly forced them to eat a banana out of one of the performers' pussies on stage. I don't know if she was like, do this or you're fucking fired. Like, hop up there and eat that banana or I'm kicking your ass, or like, I don't know, but that's just what's been alleged.
Oh god.
So
there's no photograph or, well, because they for those types of things in ADAM they don't really allow cameras.
Yeah.
And shit, so I doubt there's any photographs.
But I mean there's multiple people that said backed up that story. So
hey man, you get in a civil court and the court of public opinion, man, all you need is enough people to allegate that these claims against you, and then or allege these claims against you, and then
very true.
You end up paying. But like, so I think what I read was like she started like a TV show, right? Because she's always like promoting that body positive shit that we're talking about, which like I fucking absolutely hate. Put a pin in that for when we talk about why we just hate Lizzo. Yeah. So but she had a TV show, and essentially she wanted to recruit these dancers you were talking about, and it was like very specific. It was like, I want them to be like, I mean, we'll call it like it is, folks, like morbidly obese women, right? And so she brings these morbidly obese women giving them like an opportunity of a lifetime in quotations, right? And they literally just get fucked with the entire time. Like they have like crazy routines where they're having to like dance and do all this other shit.
I mean, if they're that out of shape, they could literally be like risking their health. Like they could have a heart attack.
Yeah, and that's what some of these women were saying. They were like, "Yo, like we were like being forced to rehearse like 12 hours a day and shit," and then like
Jesus,
Lizzo would just like get on their ass all the fucking time. And
so they went
she
from
be doing it.
Okay. She was probably sitting on a fucking beanbag chair eating Cheetos.
She sits on her ass. She just comes out on stage and like then she'll like sing and stuff. But she'll like dance around. But if you look at her, she's not like really like choreographed at all. Like she's just like.
Well, she's just a blobbering idiot, I guess.
I'm Lizzo.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. So
she's essentially fat shaming those people.
Yeah, and that's what it came down to. You know, oh fuck, dude. One of the dancers had shit her pants on stage. Yeah, this is a real. I think it came out yesterday or today, but one of the dancers actually shit her fucking pants on stage because she was scared of like the repercussions of getting off the stage during rehearsal.
Damn.
Yeah. So now she's looking at like harassment. Technically, I think sexual.
Yes,
assault.
I saw she has some sexual sexual assault charge or something like that on her as well. It's. God. If you're gonna talk shit and you're gonna be an asshole to someone, like you better be in a better position than they are.
Your fucking ducks in a row.
Yeah, like if you're gonna make fun of somebody for being fat, don't be fat yourself.
Yeah,
that's stupid as fuck.
But my thing is like, you know, what gets me with that shit, dude, that especially the like, body positive crap or whatever. Like, I get it, man. Like, you know, be fucking proud of who you are, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, you know, love yourself. Be kind to yourself, dude.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Sure. Like, take care of your body, all that stuff, man. But like, at some fucking point, you know, like.
Well, you said it. You just said it. Take care of your body.
Yeah.
Whenever you were that size, you were not taking care of your body. It's unhealthy for you, and you're not gonna have a long life.
It's like the people who like chant like belligerent drinking all the time. It gets more like, you know, when you're a young kid or whatever, fine, whatever. Teenager,
yeah.
21, 22, 23, sure, whatever. But like when you're like the older you get, the more fucking cringe that gets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why like I don't know, man. Like some comedians and stuff, like they'll just be like, I'm a raging alcoholic and stuff. It's like, dude, you're like 50 years old.
Yeah, they're like you just said, like, yeah, that was cool when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
But like at some point you'd grow out of that shit.
Yeah, just bragging about being out of shape and stuff. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never thought Lizzo was a very good performer. I watched an episode, I believe it was. Excuse me. I believe it was an episode of My Next Guest with David Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
She had an episode, I think in his first season or whatever, and he was like basically talking about how like I'm gonna interview like this upcoming like phenomenal artist and like all this other shit, and then like she showed like the kind of work she does to create her music, and I get it, man. We're in the fucking digital age, but dude, there was no fucking talent. There was no talent. It was all like just digital, like
auto-tune type shit.
MIDI interface. Like she'd be like, "Oh, I have this little box and I hit this button and like now it makes a beat." Then she would just write some bullshit lyrics or whatever, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like music, I got a fucking hard on for because I've been playing guitar for 20 years, and I play I play electric, but I do like acoustic stuff and everything. Like I get down to like the hardcore like analog shit, you know what I mean? Like you got to be able to make this shit, not like rely on some fucking bullshit software.
Yeah.
And so she pawns herself off as like this great phenomenal artist,
like a talented artist.
Yeah, dude. And it's just like she's just obviously a fucking piece of shit. She's fucking disgusting, and I just think she's talentless, dude. I don't know how. But apparently she's got like a fucking degree in music and stuff and everything. So I mean, I guess it's not all entirely unwarranted. But...
So she probably like knows about music. She's just not good at it.
Yeah. And I like how she's been using like controversial. Well, I don't like how she's been using like controversial things. Like remember when that whole like fucking performance where she played like James Madison's flute?
No.
Yeah, so James Madison was like a big like musician, was like really good at like, you know, founding father.
Oh shit, okay, I do remember that.
Yeah, and like the museum gave it to her to like, perform on stage and shit. And like what kind of got me was like all the shit she kind of stands for. I was like, that's not the fucking person I would pick, dude.
No.
There are thousands of phenomenal artists across the world who have done amazing things, all kinds of philanthropy.
Like, yeah.
Never had any scandals or issues or whatever. If they had issues, it was personal issues, you know, like drugs or alcohol, but they got through it or whatever. And like, you telling me you couldn't get one of them motherfuckers to do it?
Yeah, like giving it to like one of those young prodigy childs that like play in the grand orchestra, like somebody else.
I don't know, man. I feel like she just needs a fucking reality check. But you know, like, the hatred that I have for Lizzo is the same hatred I have for fucking influencers. Can we talk about those assholes for a little while? Since we're just ranting.
Yeah.
It's like we got through the news in 10 minutes and now we're just screaming about shit.
Like which ones in particular?
Dude, okay, all right.
Like, do you
just know more about this world than me?
You just hate the influencer like lifestyle?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then I usually hate the kind of people they are. All right, so I'm just gonna like tell you a story, and this is gonna probably give you a little bit of insight, but you're gonna know more about this than me, right? So this is back when I like had that job working at a nightclub or whatever in Louisiana. And in our city, it was a fairly large city. It had about 400,000 people that lived in it. This was the largest nightclub in that city, right? I'm not doing anything crazy, but my job is basically just checking IDs. So this is the early days of like Instagram and all of that. And so we would have lines that would form, obviously, people waiting to get in.
Yeah.
Then you have like fire codes, like only so many people can be in the building at a time, right? So anyway, like, dude, just these like straight up, for a lack of a better word, just bitches. Like, it's just bitches. And I don't mean just women, folks. Like, it was dudes too.
Oh yeah.
So, like, you know, like,
I mean, they're worse to me than the women are.
Yeah. Oh god, dude. And they would come out and they'd be all dressed up like over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And like I said, this is the early days of Instagram. And I've never had an Instagram. I don't use social media. I don't use fucking TikTok. Like, this podcast, a one-way ranting direction of conversation is as far as I'll ever get to social media. Like, you know, although I have a Facebook, which I use for Messenger, but that's it.
By the way, we're on all social media, so follow us on everything.
Yeah,
Dumpster Diaries Podcast.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Sorry, I went down the wrong pipe after that one. Throw out a real catch real fast. So anyway, like, I just remember like this one particular time that I'll tell you about. This lady comes to the front. There's like 70 people in a line, dude. It was like some event we were having. Clearly, people are waiting for this, right?
Yeah.
Respecting people, abiding by the rules,
waiting their fucking turn.
The law of order.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay to get in, right? This chick walks up to the front, her and her entourage, right? And I'm like, what's up? Something wrong? Like,
yeah,
like, can I help you? You need to jump on your car? Like, you know, what are you doing here? That velvet rope tells you where to go, lady. So, and she was like, yeah, we were just wondering if we could get in. And I was like, huh? Like, I was just like, I was just baffled.
You'd be like,
I didn't know.
Yeah, all these people are trying to get in too. Like,
yeah. And I was like, you know, we do have a line. And she was like, well, I'm an Instagram influencer. And I was like, what? And I knew what they were, but and this is when they were like just starting to kind of come out. Really,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That started becoming a thing. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I can come into your club. She's like, I'll take a bunch of pictures, you know, tag all this shit and everything. She was like, you'll have more business.
I would have been like, do you see this fucking line? Do you think I need you?
Yeah, dude. So that's kind of when I started thinking like mob mentality.
Yeah.
Like, yo, there's like one of you, maybe like a couple of your little bullshit friends, but there's like 70 of those fucking pissed off motherfuckers gonna come at me if I let you in.
Yeah.
And so she was just like, would not let it go. And I was like, dude, I had to tell her finally, I was like, I do not care about Instagram influencers. And I was like, the line starts there, and I just pointed, and she had the biggest attitude.
Be like, you are not a real celebrity.
Yeah, and then she was acting like she was like fucking Paris Hilton or something. You know what I mean? That's what like started fucking pissing me off the most, right? And she gave out a big huff, like, huh, and then like turned around like she was just like appalled that I would like deny her, you know, like
be like
preferential treatment or whatever.
Be like, wait in the fucking line like everybody else.
So she went and got at the end of the line and waited.
She did?
Yeah, yeah.
So did she wait? Like she actually waited
the whole time, dude. Yeah.
Okay. Be like, oh man,
that was another thing they were saying that. If we didn't charge them, like they would take more photos and stuff like that.
I'd be like, bitch, you're gonna take 500,000 photos anyways, so I'm still gonna charge your ass. Like, don't lie to me.
Yeah, dude.
So do you think, like, what do you think started that? Like the Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton era?
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so
like from the birth of social media or from the birth of reality TV. I think it was reality TV.
I would say reality TV, because the people you just described, Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian being big ones, because Paris was really like started it.
Yeah.
Where it was like,
because Kim,
I'm proud to be a hoe.
Yeah.
You know, basically, it's like,
and
that's
she had no actual talent other than she was the heir to the Hilton.
I'm Paris Hilton.
She had that poor little dog in the bag all the time. I always felt bad for that little dog.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, apparently she was a big partier though.
That's what. Yeah.
Like total cokehead and stuff. So yeah, there's some stories out there, substantiated stories with the police.
I mean, one look at her, I figured she did a little blow in her time.
She's like 110 pounds.
Yeah.
Walking around with a dog.
Yeah.
All cracked out in a nightclub. You know, a part of Paris Hilton's job. Well, okay, so just go back to like where we're talking about where this all started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, we have, you know, say Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, you know, because you know they're on reality TV shows and all this other stuff. Even though the Hiltons kind of came first or whatever, like Paris Hilton started like flaunting like, oh, I'm getting paid money because I'm famous.
Yeah.
Not because I'm actually, like you said, talented or anything like that.
Yep.
Right? So a big job that she fucking had, listen to this shit, is all these nightclubs would pay her to show up. They'd be like, we'll give you $10,000 if you show up to our club tonight for 3 hours. And she would just move around from club to club, just like drinking.
Getting paid to party.
Yeah. And that's how she was making a lot of her fucking money, dude.
Because then they could take pictures of her and be like, look, Paris Hilton was in our club last night. You should come because she's coming back.
And so I think like a lot of these, like, I'm going to use gender neutral Insta hoes. You know what I mean? But like, you know, it'd be man, woman, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a mentality thing, right? Of like, it's very narcissistic. It's
like,
100%. And that's what I fucking hate that shit in people, man. Like that narcissism stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, God, that'll like, no. Can't do it, man. You gotta have some humility to be around me, man. But so I think like a lot of these people just started seeing that and they were like, oh, this could be me.
Because, I mean, rightfully thinking that requires no talent, therefore no work, no skill. So yeah, they do have the ability to do it.
But there was always a buffer because social media didn't really exist at that time.
Yeah.
So the only way these people could get into that lifestyle is if they moved to New York City or they moved to
LA.
Yeah. You know, and they lived that lifestyle and they did all that shit and really tried and quote unquote tried, you know, and got in or whatever. But then you see the explosion of the internet and really social media.
Yeah.
And then once that happened, oh my God, dude, it kind of went out the window. And then really where it took off, man, we saw potential with like MySpace and Facebook because there was comedians like Dane Cook got famous off MySpace.
Yeah. Dude, MySpace was awesome.
I actually liked it.
MySpace was good.
Yeah.
Remember
all that shit where like, you're my top friends.
Yeah, top 8.
I was 8 or 10.
It was 8, but then they had like edits. You could make like a top 16 or you could edit the shit.
If someone piss you off, like I'm moving you from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
You know, and the people like
how you gonna do me that way, bro?
In high school, like especially
I thought
like
we were
girls,
friends. Oh yeah.
You would get mad.
You could make them cry.
Yeah. Like I just took you off my top friends list.
And then whoever you're like your girlfriend, boy, like they had to be number 1.
Could you imagine like someone trying that shit with us in our day and age, like just me and you, like you know what I mean?
Like someone, now?
Yeah. you would laugh them out the.
Be like, top
dude.
What, dude? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and I don't care.
Get out of here with that fucking stupid talk. You know, but yeah, man, I don't know. Kids are just like fucking crazy, but yeah. So I think the explosion of social media, people started to kind of see, oh, you can be a celebrity at this, and this is before monetization was like even a thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah,
because those people back then, or the influencers back then, weren't getting paid. They would eventually get like sponsorship deals, I guess, off of that, but there was no like ad revenue and that kind of shit back then.
You know, they would try to get like acting roles or something like that. Like it would be just used as a shoe in the door.
Yeah,
right? And so where we really saw it, man, was Instagram. Once Instagram came online, like the worst of human society came out.
Yeah, because Facebook, those people, like the popular people on or MySpace, I mean, those people still actually had talent. Like the bands were like actors, people with skills and talents were like the top people on MySpace. Although I do remember like Tila Tequila, she was on there really big.
Oh damn, I forget. Didn't she die?
I don't know.
I think she died, right?
Dude,
because she got famous because she was like famous on MySpace, and she did a porn up like a sex tape or something, right?
And she had her own show on MTV, and then after that, she went off the deep end and got racist. She had like some videos of her saying some racist shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
That'll do it.
she fell off the deep end, but I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. So, I mean, do you think that like things like social media have actually been better or worse for society?
Oh, worse 100%. No, more entertaining, that's up for debate. But
Sure.
so like to even go back further, in the 90s we had sitcoms. And then in the 2000s is when we swapped over into the reality show. So the 2000s, I guess, was where it all started to push. Like once reality shows hit, that's whenever other people were like, I could do that because they have no fucking talent either, and neither do I. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, okay, that guy's an actor. That guy's like they had a skill set that they brought to the table. Whereas now you don't need anything.
Yeah.
You can just sit here and talk in a fucking microphone.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
You just like one of my friends, he was listening to our stuff, and he was like, it's literally just you and Moses hanging out and talking. I was like, yeah.
That's what a podcast is.
What a podcast is, dude. I was like, and hopefully we strike iron and a couple people think, like what we say or whatever, get a few laughs in or whatever. I don't know. I think we're kind of funny.
I mean, I enjoy the show.
But it's about us.
It's
not about them.
But the more people we get to watch, the better the show will get.
Yes.
So, because then we can start having guests on.
I'm excited about that.
Me too.
We're making plans, trying to a little later down the road, trying to get some guests on, man.
Yeah, that's for sure in the works.
Because they're not like celebrities or anything. Like they're real, like honest,
people with good ass stories.
Yeah, man. Like, police officers, firefighters, people that work in like government and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to a friend of mine that's a school teacher, and she's kind of hesitant to come on because she's actually still a school teacher and all that, and she knows we say some pretty...
we can try to like tone down the language for that one episode.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in some of those cases.
That's fine.
Whatever, you know what I mean? So
professional environment calls for different language, but that's okay.
Can't be all like, fuck Lizzo.
Yeah. We'll call her on here and be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool. And the first thing is like, so how do you feel about the Holocaust? Like,
There's actually a really good skit by Barstool Sports. I'm sure you might have seen it. He's I guess call him a comedian. Caleb Presley. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know Barstool Sports, but...
Well, you've probably seen some of these clips. It's where he's, like, interviewing a guest, but it's, like, really awkward. It's almost like that Between Two Ferns shit.
Oh, yeah.
But it's Barstool Sports.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. Like, I just thought he was, like, a weird dude. I was like, what the fuck? And then I saw him on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and he was, like, explaining, like, that style of comedy. And I was like, after I saw that, then I went back and watched it, I was like, oh, this is fucking gold.
Oh, okay. So he was, like, the whole thing was, like, putting on a front base or like staged kind of.
Yeah. Like he would just say like really awkward, like ask like just idiotic questions like very awkwardly and stuff, and then just stare at like these like celebrities, and they would just be like really confused. Like, is this like a real question? Like, do I have to answer this? We should bring someone important on just to fuck with them. We should do that.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Anyone we can get. But
I'm also down too, man. Like, people listening and stuff, like if they know someone interesting and they want to patch in, like when that time comes, like we can get them, we probably get them on Zoom or something, man. And, pull them in for 20, 30 minutes and have that conversation or whatever.
And later on down the line, we'll be going live and we'll be able to take questions live from our viewers.
I'm calling it right now,
that
folks.
shit'll be fun.
The next presidential election, we're going to be live, man. I think we should do that live.
I could do that, yeah.
Bring in a bottle of whiskey. Either we're going to cry or we're going to be fucking celebrating.
Either way, we're getting drunk.
Oh, man, yeah. That'd be kind of a cool episode, man. Do like 6 hours and just like talk shit the entire time.
We'll be watching the polls, going through, looking and seeing where shit's at.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Sure, dude, I don't know. God. Now you got me all fired up thinking about Lizzo and all that shit.
Don't let her get in her head, man.
Well, the thing, like, people like fucking Lizzo and these influencers and all this shit. What fucking gets me, man, is like people need positive, like, role models in their life.
That's the thing, man. Like, I don't care if someone is an influencer like that, but it's just a bad example for our younger generation. Like, kids don't need to have that as a fucking role model. Yeah. Like, do you know, whenever our age and before that, whenever you would ask a kid what they want to be, they'd be like, oh, a fireman, a police officer, astronaut. Yeah. Now the number one thing that every kid under the age of 10 wants to be when you ask is an influencer.
Is that like a real?
Yeah, that's real. Influencer is the number one
Christ.
job that a child wants to have whenever you ask that question now.
What the fuck happened to being a carpenter, dude? You know what I mean? Like,
Carpenters aren't on TikTok getting millions of views. Although there is one.
I mean, you can do it. I mean, I've seen, like, you know, like tradecraft, like, you know, there's
That shit is super interesting, actually.
Like it, man. This
yeah.
motherfucker's like, hey, I'm gonna frame this shit up right now. You know, like welders doing
I was
crazy
watching
shit.
some girl like retile a bathroom last night. It was cool.
Remember those videos that got super popular where it was like those guys in the jungle like just building like mud huts and shit?
Oh,
like,
man.
pools and stuff.
My friend's 3-year-old daughter is obsessed with watching those shows.
Are you serious?
Literally, every time I go over
They're
there.
addicting, man.
I mean, they are super cool. They're staged, though. They're fake.
They're staged?
Yep.
God damn it.
I watched
It's like the internet's not real, folks.
What a goddamn surprise. But no, I watched a video on those guys specifically, and they like zoomed out and they had full on bulldozers and a team of crew like fixing all that shit, and then they would just have them pick in with those little mud fork things and do a little bit, but then they'd get the bulldozers back in and actually dig it all out proper.
Yeah, bring those guys in shorts and flip flops in now.
Yeah.
We're filming.
And they paused it on certain YouTube videos where you could see the tire tracks of the vehicles and shit too. They were like, this right there, that shit's fake.
Holy shit, yeah. Man.
But it's good for the kids. I'd much rather the kid watch that than a goddamn idiot.
I don't know, man. Remember when we were like kids? Like we'd go outside, we'd just build forts and shit, dude.
Yeah.
Kids don't do that shit anymore.
They
man.
don't have an imagination anymmore.
I think that's what scares me the most, man. Like really, like honestly, like you just see like a waste of a human brain.
There's no
Dumbed down,
the
dude.
creativity in a human brain is dwindling.
Yeah, because to be like truly creative, man. Like I mean, at the end of the day, I know it kind of sucks, but you just gotta lock yourself in the room, dude.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with being bored, like in solitude.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important part of it, man.
It is.
Like, hey, man, like you gotta have time where you're just kind of like not being stimulated by something.
Yeah, because that's when you're able to create your own ideas and thoughts.
Yeah. Lizzo don't do that.
No, she plays on a goddamn computer and threatens other people about being fat.
I'm interested to see how it turns out.
I hope they nail her to the fucking wall. If she's guilty.
Yeah. If she's guilty. Yeah, fuck it. I don't give a shit, dude. It's like there was like a huge pause, like thinking about it. Like, yeah. I just think her music sucks, dude. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm tired of hearing that shit come on the radio, dude. You know, I think I talked about it before, but I still listen to the radio.
Yeah.
You know?
You're weird.
Yeah. Every now, like, I'll tell people, I'm like, I was talking to a guy the other day. He was like, I haven't listened to the radio in like 9 years.
Same.
I was like, oh, dude, how do you get your news?
Even when like if I'm without the ability and the radio is the only option, I don't listen to anything. I'll just turn it off.
You know all those like World War II and like all those war movies and stuff where there's always like people huddled around a radio.
Oh yeah.
Fix it or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm telling you, man, World War III, I'm gonna be that guy over there like a soldering iron, like trying to fix the radio because we got like messages coming out. Get off FM.
You'll be the only one that knows how to operate the motherfucker.
Hey man, knowledge is power. Yeah, dude. I don't know. That is going to be interesting to see how that turns out, dude. Now, like, you know, I don't know. I think people are kind of like waking up too, man, to kind of like see that like people like Lizzo who are just like trying to be super positive about all the wrong things, and I quote super positive about all the wrong things.
Yeah.
And people like influencers, like that never-ending void of just bullshit, right? That leaves you feeling empty and like shit at the end of the fucking day.
Well, you can't always
It's all
just
going
be
away.
okay with everything. Like, you have to draw a line somewhere, and you have to be realistic with yourself. Like, there are certain things that aren't okay, and that's okay to say. Like, you don't have to just be okay. Like, you don't have to accept every fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, dude. It's like you don't have to like every kind of fucking food. You don't have to think every kind of fucking music is good. You don't have to think every type of comedy is good. Because I'm sure people could listen to our shit and be like, oh my God, it's the most offensive thing in the world. And some people listen to it and be like, that shit's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of being a human and not a goddamn robot. Everyone has to have their own opinions and thoughts. And, like, you just have to go and do whatever you think is right.
Yeah. We'll see, man. I don't know. We'll get on AI one of these episodes or whatever, talk about that in the future.
I love talking about AI.
We should. We could probably go on a whole.
We probably
episode
could.
about that.
Yeah.
You know, because there's some interesting stuff coming out with them making.
Spoiler alert. We're doomed.
Dun dun dun. So, yeah, man. Like, you know, little things. You know, wrap it up here in a minute, but you know, the little things like that I saw was like Drake had a song that someone made using AI.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't write it. He didn't make the music, none of that shit. And it sounds exactly like it, but it's actually a good song. So we should definitely talk about that stuff in the future, man.
Yeah, real quick thing. So one of my favorite cartoon shows is King of the Hill.
Oh yeah.
The voice of Dale Gribble, that voice actor just died 3 days ago.
Oh really?
So they were in the middle of a reboot. And he's dead now. So they were able to. I saw where he had recorded 6 episodes for the new reboot, but now he's dead. So there's a question now: they can't write him out? He's a fucking main character in the show. He's in every episode, and people have brought up the idea because, like you said, they were like, well, you can put his voice into an AI system and have basically a script spoken by him with AI, and people are it's divided because it's like it's not him but it's his voice. So should they do it to preserve the show, or should they write him out, or like what should be done?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I would be cool with the AI end of it. It's probably not I don't know. It's probably not the right thing to do, but I'm kind of greedy. I just want the show. I want to watch some episodes of it.
I'm more hardcore about it, man. I'm more of like, I'd rather than bring
if it's not the real guy, then fuck it.
Or just, bring in a new voice actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have a human do that shit. Just like anything else. Like, I don't want to listen to a fucking robot. I mean, at that point, you might as well be watching influencers and Lizzo all day and like having AI fucking solve all your goddamn problems,
Fucking robots.